Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
What broke him down? Was it just a body punching? I was hitting him with body punching. I heard him actually, he was crying in there. You were saying that Biggs was crying when you hit him? Yes. When did that happen? And perhaps the fourth round on.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
So you knew you had him by that time. Absolutely, but I knew he was tough and taking those punches.
Productions.
Making women gestures like, oh.
Let's go, champ.
Good morning, TBV, and welcome back to another Tuesday morning edition. It's gloomy over here in New Jersey. I got my co-host, Ron Goodall, in the building, bright and early. The man showing his ambition and his drive, that fucking hustle, that work ethic. We out here. We going to Philly today, so this one's going to be short. We got to go check out heavyweight prospect Dominic Rock, who signed to the Rock, and we're going to check out the new, dare I say, great white hope, the Italian stallion himself, Sonny Canto, top rank heavyweight. So we'll be down there as well with Christian Cardo. But today, right now, we're going to be discussing Dillian Whyte versus Dominic Breazeale. Both Dillian Whyte and Eddie Hearn saying that Breazeale is the lead, or at least in the runnings. And we'll discuss, I guess, Breazeale's options and whether or not, Dillian Whyte's options and whether or not Breazeale is the best one to go with. But you know the number to call in, 1-425-569-5241. Press 1 time to voice your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline. Don't forget to add Nestor Gibbs on Skype to be part of the conversation. Listen, I want to thank all our Patreons. We continue to grow on there. Hope you guys enjoyed yesterday's Untitled episode that went for over 2 hours with a jam-packed cast. Mario, Ron, Mike, myself, and Doomsday all on that episode of Untitled where we discussed just about everything under the sun. Man, I'm drawing a blank because I'm the piehead. What did we talk about? Oh, Avengers Endgame. How'd you get into boxing? Hardcore fan. How'd you become a hardcore? So much. So head on over to patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice for more exclusive TBV. You get one extra podcast every single day. But let me get on out to my co-host. We got Ron Goodall right here in the building. So let's do it.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
I've been doing this. I ain't been up and fell off. I've been through the Lennox Lewis era, the Nassim Hamed era, the Sugar Shane Moses era, the Oscar De La Hoya era, Mark Anthony era. I've been through all the eras, and I still been
How much you talking? You do too much talking. The thing is this.
People want their subjective preference to be the objective reality.
HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. ThaBoxingvoice.com.
What's going on, everyone? Good morning. Look, we are going to talk about the Dillian Whyte and Dominic Breazeale possibility. We've heard a lot of people talk about the WBC rankings, the awkward, stance of who's mandatory, why they're the mandatory. In addition to that, all the stuff of having maybe the best fight for Dillian Whyte to force his opportunity to fight Deontay Wilder. In that sense, we shall pass the ball to Mario. We can get this show rolling.
It's me, Mario.
What is up? What is up? It's so crazy because yesterday we were talking about this fight like it had absolutely we were talking about this fight, and the point I want to make is that it was all about the WBC. What are they going to do as far as mandatory? We saw the roads that this fight could come about, and it all had to do within the sanctioning body, and the sanctioning body stepping up and doing what they never do, and that's play by their own set of rules. And so now we're in a situation where there's possibility and I guess I don't even want to say likelihood because that's such a terrible word in this situation, but I don't know. I guess that there is opportunity now. And I think it gets cleared up very, very nicely with these two. And regardless of whether it's mandatory, fuck the belts. Like, this has so many determining factors outside of sanctioning bodies that I really want to talk about, that I really think are meaningful, and I think that this fight is great for both of them.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and most vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynch is the conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody like me. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from their cloth. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Yeah. Doomy in the building. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're getting your cup of Joe, cup of tea. If you're on the other side of the pond, get ready to kick it with us. Dillian Whyte, Breazeale, skipping Wilder again. Is he the mandatory? Should he be the mandatory? So many questions around this stuff. So I can't wait to get into it with you guys this morning.
Well, go ahead, Mario. You seem to be very adamant this morning, like you got something that's bothering you. So you lead. Take lead, buddy.
No. It's not bothering me at all. Look, I think that I know where Ron's going to go with this. So I'm going to talk about the fight itself. Okay, this is such a great fight. We talked about it yesterday. What were the likely scenarios for Dillian Whyte and which road he could encounter, right? We talked about the Ortizes of the world. We talked about, all the many fights or the few options that he had on the table. This is the one that makes the most sense for both guys, because this is the one where Dillian Whyte can basically knock down that door for Wilder to pay attention, for him to, finally get his hands high enough to meet whatever standard Wilder, needs for him to start taking Dillian Whyte into account. Okay. And if he were to get Breazeale after the massive stare down that we had in New York City, I think it was in New York City, after all the shit talking that we've gotten from these two, after the encounter that we had in the Vegas hotel, I can't remember. But after all of the outside influences that, the promoters have talked about, the managers have talked about, the trainers have talked about. Look, we've had Deontay's trainer on, and they've talked about Breazeale. We've had Deontay's management on. They've talked about Breazeale. Why have they talked about him? Because he was that guy high on the list for mandatory, even though it had not been ordered yet. It seemed like that would be a fight that they were willing to take if the Fury fight fell through and if AJ could not be made. I'd be willing to bet, even though I'm not in that camp, that Breazeale would have been that guy. We were probably very close to getting that fight. Because we were very close and this fight happens, Dillian Whyte instantly gets on that radar. He instantly trades places with, if he can beat Breazeale, then Wilder has to take notice. On the other side of the coin, for all the people that talk shit about Wilder Breazeale, and I'm talking about American fans specifically, for all the American fans that hated this fight, that thought it was trash, that includes Ness, that includes myself, that includes other people on the panel, this is a way for him to solidify himself. This is a way for Breazeale to put himself in the big boy category, because there is an upper echelon of the heavyweight division, and that heavyweight division goes Wilder, Fury, AJ, and then it's like, I guess you could put Ortiz right there in the bubble and Dillian Whyte right there in the bubble, Big Baby right there in the bubble. I don't think he's as notoriety as I don't know how to say that word. The notoriety is not the same with Dillian Whyte, but this is a way for Breazeale to catapult himself into that stratosphere, to launch himself into the magnitude that exists within that heavyweight division, and for that fight with Wilder to ultimately be as big as it possibly could be.
I'm going to just keep this super short. Everyone's going to talk about the WBC being
unbelievable.
There is definitely something wrong. Check if your computer is.
It sounds like the mic's not connected.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Perfect.
All right. Technical error on my part. But like I said, everyone's going to talk about the WBC being corrupt. Let's revisit and go back to the fact that, look, this happens in all the sanctioned bodies. This has happened with the WBC with Chavez Jr. Pernell Whitaker was someone in the past with the whole Chavez, the original Chavez situation. So let's acknowledge the fact that this is a business. And as much as we would like to go into the mandatory positions, stuff like that, the most subjective thing you can think about right now is what was the better fight, Fury or Breazeale, for business-wise and competition-wise. Now, of course, we know there's a mandated situation with Dominic Breazeale, but we've had many fighters get stuck out and had to wait for a long time. You know, Errol Spence had to wait a very long time, constant rescheduling over and over and over. And at that point, we have to acknowledge at this point that the fighters now have to put themselves in a position to force the fights, even though when the sanctioning bodies are being bad. So this is a great way for Whyte to force his hand to be in the position of the mandatory, not just from the WBO that he's at, but now with the WBC. And now he can have multiple opportunities to go with that route. So if he goes with this is a fighter putting himself in the opportunities that he needs to be in to put himself for a championship contention.
Now, are the negotiations for this fight already solid? Is the fight scheduled? What exactly is going on with the negotiations or the makeup?
I mean, right now, Breazeale definitely, in my opinion, Dillian Whyte definitely wants Breazeale as his top choice.
Is it in the last 24 hours? He mentioned his name, Doomy, and so that's like something that we haven't done.
Outside of that, he debated with Kugan Cassius. Kugan was like, why not Luis Ortiz? And he's like, well, Breazeale had a pay-per-view with, Anthony Joshua here in the UK. So he's more valuable. He's more marketable. Plus, he's an American versus UK. So I'm sure that's Dillian's top choice. Now, can he get that is a different story. I still feel strongly that the option will end up being Alexander Povetkin. I know Eddie, and I know how he does business. He owes Povetkin. Not that he owes him like, oh, I owe you, I got to pay you back. No, it's like he always brings back guys that lose. It doesn't matter if you lose. Eddie doesn't care, and I like that. I love that about it.
They do good business. Why not do business again, right?
Exactly. So for Eddie, he's already done business with Povetkin. They've already got an understanding. He doesn't have to go deal with Al and all those people over there that he really doesn't like dealing with, according to him in his interviews.
Well, listen, we should talk about the way things should work, okay? Because Ron broke down, or not broke down, but he used examples of Sergio Martinez and a few other fights where the WBC not just went around their own rules, but almost like made them up on the fly, and they did things to cushion or to help a certain champion or a certain contender or a certain mandatory, right? But the way things should work is that you have a ranking system.
So you just
and guys
at WBC, that's how you're gonna do it. So you got a vendetta at WBC. Or are you saying
No.
everyone else, all the other sanctioning bodies, do not do what you're accusing the WBC?
No, listen,
have not done it.
I opened up the show. I opened up the show.
I don't know. I hear you being very biased.
I said the rankings. I said
the WBC
sanctioning bodies. No. Listen, they all do it, but we're talking about the WBC at this specific moment in time. The WBC.
But why? When the WBA done the same thing.
But we're not talking about a WBA belt here. We're not talking about a WBA because we're talking about Breazeale being. We're talking about
and not the other. Like,
listen. First of all, I'm not even calling the WBC out specifically. I'm using them.
It sounds like when you use the words WBC or the letters, buddy. Come on.
Well, listen, I'm calling them out because that's the sanctioning body we're talking about. If we were talking about a WBA belt, we're talking about any of the other belts, then I would be using that belt.
Out. I'm not even calling the WBC out. I am calling them out. Which one is it, buddy? Which one?
I'm calling sanctioning bodies out in general. So we can use WBC as the example right here, right now. Okay, we can use the WBC as an example right here, right now. And the way things.
Why not use the IBF?
Okay, Ness.
We can Google.
We'll use the IBF if it's better for your. If it's better for your.
We Google search that the IBF has been known to take briberies. Isn't that out there? Well, if we're talking the word corrupt, that sounds like corruption.
If it doesn't hurt your heart to use the WBC, we can talk about the IBF. We can talk about any sanctioning body.
What about
this? Is the way.
What about the WBA that found a way to get Luis Ortiz out of the rankings and then all of a sudden kept giving extensions to Wilder and Joshua to negotiate last minute, 48 hours for Povetkin?
I don't know if you think that I'm trying to make the argument that only the WBC is corrupt. No, they've all made
emphasize
issues.
that all of them are corrupt. If you're gonna say one is corrupt.
And I started the show by saying the sanctioning bodies play by their own rules. I started off the show by No, I did not. Not until just now. Not until after Ron talked about it and Ron brought it up. Why? Because that's the sanctioning body in question right now. But when I say that the WBC should play a certain way, I'm talking about all the sanctioning bodies. So you can lump them all in there. That's fine. They all have a system and a history of corruptness. The way they should work is that fighters fight and the rankings are altered by those fights. So this is a fight where you have a guy who's set up to be a mandatory. Okay, you have another fighter who I think, if I saw it correctly, I had pulled it up for research. He is the Nope, I lost it. Oh yeah, he's in the top 3, obviously, but you have 2 guys within the top 5 of their ranking system. This should be an eliminator style fight. This should be the type of fight that catapults one of them into a mandatory shot that gets ordered right away for after Fury Wilder for the winner. It should be that way. Will it be that way? I don't know. There is other money to be made with Joshua. We've seen that the WBC did what they did with Fury, and rightfully so. They ordered that fight. They made that fight. They put it ahead of Breazeale. But this is the way they should play. This is the way they should do the rankings. This is the way they should operate.
Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you're watching this live on YouTube. In the future, the present, the past, it doesn't matter. It helps with the visibility of the show. Let me and Ron know that you enjoy what we do. Let Mario and Doomsday know that you enjoy them waking up on different time zones to be here to bring you some boxing talk and give you a place where you can voice your opinion and debate back and forth, not only with your, other hardcore fans, but with the hosts. We never run. We always here. That number to call in, 1-425-569-5241. Hey, Sleeping Beauty. Hey.
I speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. I can't say it enough. I speak it, believe it.
Handed bands over. Sicko hit, shot and miss. To the stand over. Turn up. Breadwinner, huh? Look who in the building. Let me check my Instagram. I might be at 1 million. And I'm in.
BoxingVoice.com.
Yo, you there, Mike?
Don't unmute yourself, sleepy guy. He still got coal in his eye. Forgive him.
He just skrilled.
He's not on mute though.
I mean, somebody give him an L so he get his shit together. All right, we're gonna keep this show moving while Mike unfolds.
I wanted to say real quick, like, what exactly is the quarrel or the issue or the dispute right now? I'm talking to Mario with this fight.
Some sour pusses. We got sour puss master.
He don't want this fight happening.
I didn't never say no. There's some sour puss in the production chat. There's some of the masterminds, and they like, oh, WBC's corrupt. So Mario, Manchester Mario that he is, he tried to come to their defense, but he didn't do no fucking research. Everybody's fucking corrupt. You know what I'm saying? And now they saying it's corrupt because, oh, Breazeale shouldn't be the mandatory and Dillian Whyte should be the mandatory. Like, bro, so what about the dude that fucking Earl Spence beat the shit out of in Texas? Should he been somebody's mandatory? No, motherfucker.
Washington, somebody mentioned it on the chat. Washington, how did Washington rank for that fight?
But see,
Washington didn't rank for that fight. See, that's just some
was on short notice because Wilder for the drug test.
That fucking short notice. It was someone pulled out because of a drug test. That ain't short.
I said, bro.
Oh, it was a drug
test. Calm down, homie. I'm trying to back you up. Know what I'm saying? Calm down.
I don't need your help. I don't need your help. Just like Anthony Yard right now. Didn't he get an opponent change like 2 days ago?
Yeah.
All right, this shit happens in boxing. Don't say, oh, Washington wasn't ranked. Like, know your boxing, you clown ass casual fan.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
who is he talking to?
Boxing. No, somebody from the chat mentioned Washington not being ranked. So I mentioned it because the boxing is the type of sport. Just like any other sports, right? That deal with curveballs, injuries on athletes, anything can happen in these sports, but more so in these boxing sports because it's you're more liable to get injured. Obviously, we're pounding on each other's faces and stuff. But sometimes it doesn't work out the way the set guideline is, which is the rankings or whatever you want to look at as the guideline to making these fights the way they're supposed to be made. There's always going to be X factors. There's always going to be things that are going to, be thrown in there you're not going to like. I mean, from the beginning of the inception of this sport, there's always been fucking curveballs thrown in. So,
I mean, look, let's look at it this way. When it comes to these sanctioning bodies, they all do it. They set a whole bunch of rules, and then they have a board, and they discuss if they want to follow the guidelines or not. They all do that. And it always comes down to the honest opinion of what makes the best business sense.
Making the fight happen. That's what matters.
And then I understand, like, here's the thing. I'm a huge advocate of understanding, like, we got to do the right thing. But at that same time, because they all do it, we also have to acknowledge to use our own subjective opinion to understand why they do it. And if it's for a lesser business fight or a lesser competitive fight, like, I don't think anyone was upset when people were offering step aside money to try to make a better fight. Like Wilder fighting Ortiz instead of Bermain Stavern was a prime example where they had to pay a little money to get that fight. And then, the WBC acknowledges that, hey, we're going to go get the Fury fight. We're going to do this. The Wilder wants to do the Fury fight. And let's not act like when Triple G and Canelo, they had their dispute that they forced that. Canelo got rid of his belt. They had a mandatory in line, I'm sure, and they still made that fight happen. And at a certain point, they choose if they want to force it for either financial reasons or they want to try to force the guidelines. It's all the same. Now, at the same time, I understand. I can feel for Dominic Breazeale, but many fighters has been here, and he has to understand that he's at a position now where they're trying to go to undisputed.
Ron, they don't even want you to feel for Dominic Breazeale. They want you to feel for Dillian Whyte. The quote-unquote boxing public is upset that Dillian Whyte isn't the mandatory. Well, then do this. Do what Mario is claiming you're doing. You're solidifying your shot at Wilder. You're cementing it. Go through Breazeale.
That's not what's happening.
No one here thinks that Breazeale isn't the favorite. The betting lines already have Dillian Whyte almost at a 3-1. So go through Breazeale. I'm not mad at that fight. Let's do it.
But simultaneously, Ness, you got to understand, you have to say the same thing for Breazeale. This is a chance for Breazeale to solidify. You're looking at this from a perspective, and I feel like the heat towards this whole WBC talk is coming from you're feeling like people are attacking Wilder based on the fact that Dillian Whyte should be higher up in those ranking systems.
That's your assumption, and
no, I am. I said it. It's my assumption
to get more UK fans to back your little Mario man.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm just saying that's where I'm coming from. That's the heat that I'm feeling. I'm feeling that you're a little bit.
I have not mentioned his name. You have.
Okay, so maybe you're just subconsciously worried. That's another thing. I took a semester of psychology, so I'm kind of an expert on it, and and so listen, you might subconsciously be worried about the Dillian Whyte fight and Wilder, so you don't want this to play out. You want the narrative to be more like Breazeale deserves this shot no matter what. When look. Regardless, bottom line, this is both their opportunities to step up and show that they deserve this fight. I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to pick Breazeale in this fight, but at the same time, if he wins, he wins.
Real quick, the double standard is, this is how I look at it. If Dillian Whyte is willing to wait out for his opportunity to be mandated with the WBO, Breazeale is already mandated for the WBC. So if he's trying to force his way, even though a lot of us maybe feel like the rankings and the system is all messed up and whatever, it doesn't make sense to us. I agree. But if he's willing to wait out to be mandatory for the WBO, he should wait out to be the mandatory for the WBC, considering the fact they've already mandated someone. So he has an opportunity to fight a champion. And if he wants to go the other way, opposed to going to the way that it's going to be soon to be mandated for Anthony Joshua, I mean, look, a champion's a champion, right? An opportunity is an opportunity. That has more belts. This one's one belt. You know this guy better. I think at that point, we can't force Dillian Whyte to be the mandatory, even though we may feel he should maybe be in a better position. If he wants to wait out for the WBO, let him wait out for the WBC. Even though we disagree, we have to keep the same standard because that's a double standard for two totally different sanctioning bodies.
Well, it's definitely no standard. Just like you said earlier in the show, these guys play by their own. Well, I said that, but you made the point earlier that these guys play by their own set of rules. But what you said earlier that I was trying to focus on was the you said you have to use your own discretion. You have to use your own logic. And that's the sense that we're getting here. Look, yesterday when we were talking about this topic, nobody said Breazeale would, come into this fight or take this fight. We all had that underlining assumption. And I think maybe Mike even actually physically said it, that, Breazeale was going to wait it out. Why? Because he's entitled to, because that's the smart business move. But at the end of the day, like I said, the way that these things should work, okay, and I'm not just talking about WBC, I'm talking about IBF, I'm talking about WBO, WBA, all of them, even Ring Magazine. They should work in this sense where a person, if you're not fighting, you're going to fight next, you're going to put yourself in a position, then they should be fighting. I mean, these rankings should count for something. So if you're the mandatory, you should hold that like a staple. You should hold that like almost like a belt in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what happens with these interim titles. I mean, they keep getting, diminished further and further, and intermediate status and galactic, whatever, like all these things point to the same kind of definition where people are trying to gather up as many trinkets as they possibly can without fighting those tough fights. Breazeale is in a position where if he could take this fight, he could, and he goes in there, he wins it, then he has a claim to Wilder that far reaches beyond anything that we would have possibly considered before.
So stop fucking breathing in the mic.
No, I'm trying to jump in. I'm playing hopscotch here. So where does this fight really happen? I mean, does Breazeale travel over across the pond and make the fight happen? What is Eddie's plan if this fight actually pulls through? And what numbers are we looking at? What kind of money?
Obviously, it's at this point. If he believes in this fighter, White's the favorite. He's essentially going to try to buy his way to get the WBC mandatory position, or try to get him as high ranked as possible so that when they do come and mandate it, that there's no dispute. At that point, you eliminate the guy that they put in contentions, and then you prove that, look, I'm ranked higher and I beat the mandatory. Bye-bye. Bring me on board. And that's on Dominic Breazeale to see if he wants to negotiate that. And if he does, it becomes, I'm the mandatory, or who's the A side, who's the bigger draw. And that's when the financial things come in, because Dominic Breazeale doesn't have to do anything, ideally, when you think about it, because he's already solidified himself in that, unless the WBC does something where they go in there and create an eliminator after they mandated, which would be very strange to do, but it's very likely they can do based off White's performance outside and their change of heart about Dominic Breazeale, which will make a lot of people on the White side feel happy because they're creating an opportunity for White. But is that feel for Dominic Breazeale?
I don't think they do that. I think they've been sidelining him too long already. I mean, he's not even fighting. He's not doing anything.
Well, but here's the thing, though. As far as your point's concerned, you got to understand that.
Wait a minute.
There's clout that White has.
Don't let this rookie fucking 2.0 casual 3.0 say that. Who's not fighting? Let me hear this clearly. Who's not fighting? They got him sitting. He's not even fighting. Who's not fighting, Doomsday? You not fighting. Who's not fighting?
I mean,
Dominic Breazeale just fought.
That's what I'm saying, but like he hasn't been active.
That's what you're saying. Him and Mario in the same world.
He hasn't been active, man. Active. He just came back. You know what I'm saying? What was his fight before that, Ness?
I don't know.
Exactly. It was too long ago. So what I'm saying is, I mean, the guy hasn't been active.
Well, look, all I'm saying is this: for Breazeale, it's been said, he doesn't have to do anything. So he is in some sort of position of power. However, White does carry the clout in a fight like this. He's got more notoriety. He's got a country behind him more in a way that Breazeale doesn't. And so, I guess A side, if we're going to call it that, should fall on his hands. But just like Ron said a little bit ago, Breazeale doesn't have to move. So Breazeale's kind of like this. Like if I envision it, he's kind of like this squirrel that you're trying to corner and you don't want to scare him off too far. So like whatever kind of whatever advantages you got to give him, whatever things you got to give him with negotiations, they probably would.
You guys are too nice, man. Let's fucking be real. He only fought once in 2018 because he's trying to sit waiting for a mandatory that ain't been called. Let's just be real. Like, you could fight. Luis Ortiz has fought 3 times last year. And one of those fights was a tough fight versus Wilder, and he was trying to get the last fight to be another tough fight versus Dillian Whyte. So if you want to fight, you will fight. Chris Colbert fights every fucking month. If you want to fight, you will fight. But once you start picking and choosing, and you got a path, you know, and you're the mandatory, and you want to wait, wasn't Earl Spence in this similar position when he was waiting for Kell Brook? This is what happens when you wait for mandatories. Let's not try to say he's inactive and they ain't keeping him busy. No.
What fight he had open then, Ness? What fight? Who was available for him for a good fight? Who? Say it.
You not getting it?
So what am I getting?
Wait a minute.
I thought that was the point that Doomy was making.
Yes, exactly.
Doomy, open your eyes. You're telling me that when he fought Carlos Negron, he couldn't have turned around and fought Luis Ortiz on the same card? He don't want
Luis Ortiz ain't want to fight Dominic though. How do you know that Luis Ortiz was available for Dominic? You could just call out these heavyweights like if they're available.
Doomy, are you listening? They were on the same card. Everybody was on the heavyweight card with even Ariola. You're not listening.
Listen, but you're not understanding that them facing each other, they looking at it like it's more risk than a reward. So that's why they didn't fight each other.
Exactly.
But what I'm telling you, so the same thing you can say about him, you can say the same thing about Lewis. Everybody's looking for an easy fight. Then that's what you're saying.
Not Lewis. And if you want to fight, you can fight Lewis.
Acting like they haven't been sidelining the shit out of him, bro.
Who they sideline, motherfucker?
Brazil had he had.
He don't want to fight. What don't you get? He don't want to fight.
So he don't want to fight Deontay.
That's who he wants to fight. That's why he's waiting.
Okay, so he don't want to fight. He don't want to fight, but he want to fight Deontay.
Get him, Doomy. Get him.
Come on.
Mario, you sound like you're casual by saying that. Don't you get it? He's waiting for a mandatory, so he's not fighting.
Of course.
How many times?
How know that?
A mandatory that hasn't been called. You're a hardcore fan. You need to call him on his ducking.
Listen, I love his passion.
Hasn't been called.
Listen, you're absolutely right, and we almost got it still.
Hey, check the phone lines, Ness. The number start with a 567.
But just adding on to that.
Actually, Ron, take it away. We have your Toledo native, right? Ohio native, Alicia Bumgarner on the line. Alicia, good morning. Thank you for taking out the time to give us this interview and this opportunity. We hope you had a great start to a happy new year. I'm going to transfer you to Ron Goodall, our correspondent here in New York City.
Yo, what's up, Alicia?
Thank you.
It's been a long time.
Hey. Yes, long time. How are you?
I'm good, man. Hey, look, you created this humongous buzz the last time I talked to you. I remember you a long time ago in Toledo when you were coming up. You were with your track friends, and you know now everyone's talking about you in the women's division in a hot time. So how's it going? How's everything? How's the training camp? I know you got a fight coming up in February.
Yes, everything is going very well. The new year is amazing so far. I'm here in Florida finishing off camp. I fight on the 23rd in Dearborn, Michigan. This is my 7th fight. So my comeback fight since I lost in July of last year. So been training really hard and just different type of focus that I'm looking for this fight. So everything's been really well.
And, you know, with that being said, just kind of want to get a little bit more of your training camp, your trainers, the team, the people you're working with. If you can help us out and let us know who's in your team.
Yeah. So I'm training with Sugar Hill from Detroit. I'm also here in Florida with my manager Nelson and Eddie. So you know, I just get plugged in anywhere I can when I'm in Cleveland or Detroit, Florida, just to get my work in. So I have quite a few people helping me, prepping me for this fight.
How's it going, Ms. Baumgartner? My name is Michael Gross.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. My first question is, you mentioned your loss back in June. What is one of the biggest lessons that you learned from that, and what have you taken away from that?
My biggest lesson learned was that, you know, I did lose, but it taught me a very big, valuable lesson. not just in boxing, but in life, and just the surroundings that you have, and what it actually takes to just be 100% committed. Not saying that I wasn't committed, just little things that you just have to be aware about that can change your atmosphere and everything around you. So I took from that a big lesson, but it was well needed to prepare me for this new year.
Hey, Alicia. Let me just piggyback off of that real quick, Mike, and then you got it. Hi, Alicia. This is Mario Munguia here. I just want to piggyback because we have been having discussions on the show about how boxing places too much emphasis on undefeated records. Boxing places too much emphasis when a fighter loses versus like somewhere like the UFC where fighters, they rack up losses, but they are still a commodity and they're still put in high valued situations and fight cards. Do you feel like boxing places too much emphasis on undefeated streaks and that almighty zero?
Yes, absolutely. I think it definitely gives the fighter more pressure. I can't lose. Nobody wants to lose, but if you do lose, you learn from that lesson, and it could be a hard fight that you fought your hardest and, they still gave it to the other person. So putting that pressure on a fighter and, kind of treating them different in the boxing industry is, I don't agree with that because, world champions, even back in the day, had losses and they're still well known, still well talked about. And I don't think they should do that. I think it doesn't really say who that fighter is. It could have been an off night or they could have been beat. Maybe they weren't the best man to pull out that night. But yes, they definitely do put emphasis on, undefeated records and stuff.
Hey, Alicia, whoops. There we go. Oh, there we go. I hit the mic. But look, I was wondering your promotional status. I know you were Evander Holyfield's promotion. Are you still with them? Or are you doing your own thing? What's going on with that?
Yeah, I'm currently still with them. I'm still with them.
And with that, how many fights are you with them? Are you contracted with them for 3 fights, 5 fights?
It's 3 fights.
Now, the reason why I asked because DAZN's heavily interested in women fights. Have they reached out, or is that something that you were looking to go elsewhere?
Yeah, we have a few people interested, and I leave that up to my manager, and then we will discuss it later. So right now, I'm just focused on the training part aspect, but we do have people very interested.
With that being said, do you have any up and coming TV dates that we can go and see you fight?
I don't have any upcoming TV dates yet, but I'm definitely seeing one in the future. Maybe midsummer would be awesome. So we're working towards that. I know after that, more people will be
90 seconds
more informed on who Alicia is and what I have to offer for boxing.
Ms. Baumgartner, looking at your division, you have Michaela Mayer in that division too. Is that a possible fight? Maybe you can see as being a big fight down the road. And what are your thoughts on Michaela Mayer?
Yeah, it's definitely a fight that I see in the future. I think it will be a
60 seconds
competitive fight. I think it's what the fans need. I'm all about putting on great competitive fights, and her being in the Olympics would definitely give that. I think it needs to be well promoted. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I definitely see it happening. I've been wanting to fight her in amateurs. We never got to, so I think pro is perfect. So until that time comes, it's going to be a good fight.
Ms. Baumgartner, so are you a boxing fan, or do you just, are you just a boxer? Because some boxers don't really like to watch the sport or watch boxing.
I'm definitely a boxing fan. Whenever boxing on, I'm looking to find it. Definitely a boxing fan. I feel like when you're a boxer, that's my life.
10
so it's my
seconds.
Lifestyle. So just, keeping up on the fights and who the fighters are, even with women's boxing, you gotta be well informed.
Perfect. So treat me like a casual. We met at the gym and I asked you about this heavyweight division. How could you help me understand
Well, if you're asking about the heavyweight division, I'm definitely going to bring up Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, and obviously Wilder and Fury. If you seen the fight and what your thoughts were, I know a lot of people were going for Wilder, but Fury, he used his boxing skills, he used his jab, and Wilder definitely had a hard time with that. Wilder did score the knockdown, but again, Fury did get up and so dominated the fight with, using his jab and flipping and moving and stuff and making Wilder miss. So I'm definitely going to ask you your opinion on that fight and what you thought, because from a boxer's point of view, I thought that Fury won and he showed more boxing technique than Wilder, because a lot of people were just looking for, and I feel like a non-fan would be like, well, he does knock out, but I don't know. That's what I would ask.
So, but that's how you would sum up the heavyweight division? You would leave out that other guy?
Oh, Mike Tyson?
No, the other, the other guy.
Wait, Wilder.
No.
Oh, the British guy.
Oh, the British guy.
Damn, she don't even know the nigga.
I don't even know.
Oh my God.
I do know him, but I don't know his name. Oh,
Johnson. Isn't it Anthony Johnson?
No, Anthony Joshua.
That's
there you
Anthony Joshua. And yeah, I forgot about him because, look, again, he's kind of scary too. You seen him fight with Klitschko. He didn't want to get hit. And I think he's really all talk. I feel like his promoter is really protecting him until he actually fights someone who's, better than him. So I think that's just up and coming. These heavyweights ain't the same like they were back in the day, I feel like. So when I think about the heavyweight division, I just always think about Mike Tyson, who was a dog coming out straight out the pen, like knockouts. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Hey, Alicia.
I got one last.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I wanted to know how did you get hooked up with Adidas Boxing, because we see a lot of boxers that have problems with getting like partnerships and like sponsorships.
Yeah. I want to thank my PR guy Vince. He set that up for me, and through him we were able to make a relationship and build from there, and it's been great so far.
Hey, Alicia, I wanted to ask you real quick, what do you know about your opponent coming into this next fight? Is it in your, are you trying to just get in rounds? Is there something that she presents that you're worried about?
This next opponent, I'm happy that she took the fight, as a fighter, as a boxer, and it's important that we can keep somebody on the show because, people are coming out to see. So I do say thank you to her for accepting the fight. And, every fight I take serious, you never know what can happen. And I'm just, I want to look good while doing it and just really put in the work. So I don't really know much about her. I know she's a well-experienced fighter and, she is a veteran in this sport. So it's definitely going to be a good show for the fans that night.
Yeah, I've seen she's been boxing since 2002. So definitely has veteran tendencies, I'm sure. But my last question I wanted to ask you is, what do you think that female boxing has to accomplish to hit that next stratosphere and get into the limelight? I guess like similar to the way that the UFC did with their female divisions.
I definitely think, for one, women's boxing to be more appealing to the fans, we need knockouts, for one. Two, we need to be better promoted for the fight. Put a little more time into promoting the fight when it comes to women's boxing. And just putting us on TV, in Mexico, girls are fighting every week and they're very competitive fights. They're banging and they're looking better than some of the men. And some of people would say that, women's women's boxing should be like a main event. Just depending on the caliber of the fight. You know, you do have those lopsided fights that kind of turn people away just to think that, you know, women's boxing doesn't have that. But there's a lot of competitive women boxers out there that just need to be put and shown on the big screen so we can say, hey, we do have competitive fights, we do know how to fight, and we can have knockouts.
And you know, I've said that for No, you're absolutely right. I've said that for years watching beIN Sports. You know, they'll have women headline you know, fights, and they are dog fights. I mean, they get at it, and they've been some of the funnest fights I'll see in a weekend. And so a place like beIN Sports that gives them that shine, you know, they definitely put it out. But go ahead, Ness. Sorry.
My final question is I want to know, like, after boxing is all said and done, I'm saying we all been on your IG. Is there a modeling career in your future?
Yeah. I'm definitely dipping in a few things and just you know, being active in and outside the ring. So yeah, that's definitely in my future.
Hey, Alicia.
Last question. Last question. Keith Thurman, I seen a picture on your IG with Keith Thurman. He came back last week or the week before last. What did you make of his performance?
For his performance, I thought he looked great. I mean, for coming off the layoff that he did and with the injury, you know, you have a few biased people looking at, but I think he looked good. And
Alicia,
you know,
I have you know,
back in the.
I have you know, you're talking to the biased guy. The one that asked you the question is the one that thought Keith looked horrible and thinks that Crawford would stomp all over him, but he doesn't want to tell you.
I said that though. Okay.
I mean, he didn't look like the Keith Thurman we've seen before. You know, obviously, you know, you have to take in consideration the layoff, all that good stuff. But you know, in the next fight, when he does fight again, I feel like then we can really make those big, I don't want to say judgments, but those big, you know, opinions. It's okay, now he should have looked better in this fight. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm excited to see him back. You know, I like the way he promotes himself, and he's very confident, and I feel like that gives the division something to talk about for sure.
Hey, Alicia, this is Ron again. I just wanted to say it's really cool to see how dedicated you were in the sport of boxing when I knew you when you were younger, and now you're on the Boxing Voice, and we're talking again, and I'm interviewing. So I'm really proud of that you stuck with this, and you've done tremendous in your career. I wanted to see if you can give your fans and everyone your social media and where we can find you in your next fight, and pretty much go from there.
And thank you for your time once again, obviously.
And real quick, just wanted to just real quick, Alicia, before you go, it's Alex Doomsday Lion is here.
Real quick.
Yeah,
y'all gotta get my name. You gotta get my name right. It's
Alicia,
not Alicia.
I said Alicia.
Everybody know that you get in contact with Alicia.
No,
Alicia.
I know how to pronounce it because my mother and my sister's name is Alicia. So it's these losers that can't get it right.
That's why I said Miss Baumgartner.
Alicia, did I get it right?
Big on my name. It's crazy. Yes, it's Alicia.
All right. So now I just want to ask you a little bit about your amateur career, if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my amateur career was awesome. I won a few national tournaments. I had 165 amateur fights. I was going to try out for the Olympics again, but I felt like pro was better for me. And it was great. I went to the Junior Olympics when I was 17. I won the national PAL, and so it was a great amateur career. It was well experienced for me, so I knew that, you know, I did my work there, so I was ready to go pro. So great amateur career.
So you find that in your pro career that like the pro styles is a style that you prefer more?
Oh, definitely.
Cool. Thank you, Alicia.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can follow me on Instagram at Alicia Baumgartner and on Twitter at Alicia M. Baum.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you for your time. Hope to have you on again soon.
Have me anytime.
All right. Yeah. Well, there you have it. Alicia Baumgartner, thank you again. And you guys can follow her on her social media. Want to thank her once again for being on the show, and thank both Ron and Jay Hardcore for setting that up. Listen, we're going to get and wrap this up. We got a few callers, and we're going to do that now. But me and Ron got to go. We got to hit this road. Lots to do. We hitting out Philly, get some content, couple heavyweights, and we'll be back. So, yeah.
Follow me on.
These calls are brought to you
Where
by
is
El
Mike today?
Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
Yo, Mike, are you still asleep?
Nah, my bad. I thought you said, are y'all about to go?
You need coffee.
JD, motherfucker.
There's a lot of things I like to move, so just try to get on my game. I don't know why they don't call me, but I'm a 54-pounder. But I have a brother that's at 160.
Yo, I just called in real quick to say Dillian Whyte is dumb as fuck. If he think that we buying that shit about Breazeale being more known than King Kong, like, just because he was on a pay-per-view with, Joshua, like, dude, nobody knows the loser. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't put up a good fight, nobody really knows the name. And I guarantee you, a lot more people, man, it's not even close. A lot more people know who Ortiz is than Breazeale, man. And that's all I got, man. Whenever something like that is out, like, we got to correct that shit. Like, I mean, that's a horrible narrative to put out there. But, the dude is openly ducking Ortiz. He don't even want to mention the dude's name and shit. But that's all I got, man.
Yo, real talk. I was even gonna, I wrote that down to bring it up because I saw that in his interview, or I read that one of the quotes, and yeah, you're absolutely right. I read that, I was like, oh man, but I thought for sure somebody on the panel was gonna get him for that.
All right, Joseph, Mastermind, Texas, talk to me.
Yeah, man. I think it's a foolish. I mean, I don't understand what Dillian Whyte is doing, going that route. Yeah, he can say that everybody in the UK knows Breazeale, but everybody in the UK still knows Ortiz, just like we do here. But as far as sanctioning bodies go, man, I mean, Ron's right. It's a business, and the sanctioning body got to do what's best for business. Look at Canelo. He dropped their belt when they tried to enforce him, and then he wouldn't even pay the sanctioning fees in the Triple G first fight, so that belt wasn't even on the line in the first fight. They tried to force that Huicho belt on him, and he didn't want nothing to do with it. So, when a fighter gets big enough, they have the sanctioning bodies kind of by the balls. Hey, but real quick, are y'all gonna do a fight study today still?
Probably when we get back, man. We heading out to the gym. We got the suggestion, so we definitely gonna handle it. It's definitely gonna get done because we already got a bunch of.
You gonna let them know what it is, or not yet?
Nah. But we need y'all to find some links. All right, brother. Well, thanks for calling in, Joseph. All right. So we got a few people here that are trying to jump on. Maybe I could get them on. Maybe I can't. We're going to Matt. Skype, talk to me.
I'm just going to make this quick. I think that the WBC should put Breazeale and Whyte in for an interim WBC world title fight. They should make it for an interim WBC title. That way they can. I think Breazeale would probably take that fight because it's for an interim world title, and it would satisfy Whyte as well because after he would get the chance to get that title. That's my call, guys.
Matt, thanks for calling in. We're going to Hamza. Excuse me, T Plums, talk to me.
T Plums.
T Plums, just listening.
Yo, I'm walking out the door. Give me a second. Yo, I just want to say this. I don't think much people talking about it, but Luis Ortiz said he'll fight Anthony Joshua for $5.
Yeah, I ain't see that.
And yeah, It's on some pages out there for sure. I think people, it's not really a big, people not making it a big thing because they don't want to. But yeah, he definitely called out AJ for $5, and these dudes aren't really ducking Luis Ortiz for real, for real. That's all I want to say. I ain't got much to say. I'm still listening. I'm at work, so all right, y'all.
All right, brother. Well, thank you for calling in. We're going to Hamza. Talk to me.
Yo, how's it going? You alright?
Good, good.
Yeah,
going
bro.
on, Hamza?
Like all these people going on about White ducking Ortiz. This fight, even if he is ducking him or not, this fight has nothing to do with him ducking him, because obviously Ortiz is fighting in March. The other thing is obviously it's a good fight if it does happen, because it's it frees up the spot for who fights Wilder next for WBC. And then also, if White wanted to, he could always fight Ortiz at the back end of the year. That's all.
Well, all right, Hamza. Thanks for calling in, brother. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Want to thank everybody for calling in, everybody that participated. Don't forget you can hit that thumbs up button in the future, present, past. It always helps with the visibility of the show. Me and Ron gonna head on out to Philadelphia and get you some coverage on that new up-and-coming heavyweight for Top Rank. They're calling him the Great White Hope, or at least I am. The Italian Stallion, the real Rocky Balboa. I mean, he's got a bunch of names, though. You know, Great White Hope, the real Rocky Balboa, and the one I just seen, I was telling around when I picked him up, was Baby Klitschko. Baby Klitschko. So we'll see. I've never seen him fight. You know, he's a heavyweight. He's local to us. So why not? TBV, you know our motto, big, little, small, interview them all. I am your host, Nestor Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at NestGTO. Really quick, let me go to Canada. Talk to me.
Yo, Ness, good morning, man. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you, late ass.
All right, good. Hey, man, you know, it's barely 7:50 down here, man. Minus 27 degrees, man. So it's hard to wake up in the morning, man. You know, when you wear them silk pajamas, it's not easy to go get those miles in. Listen, Dillian Whyte, I'm going to be really quick, man. Dillian Whyte, smart move, man. He's still relevant after getting his butt kicked and being a bum. So why would you fight Ortiz? Makes no sense. Just wait for a big fight, man. Smart man, smart move. I like it. And also, the exaggeration, the talks of the death of border wars, man, they've been greatly exaggerated. It's alive and well. We have 8 fighters signed up, 4 fights confirmed. Weights are perfect. Everything's on track. So we'll be happy to announce that to you at a later time, Ness. But just so people know, the event is closed, and we already have 8 people in, different weight categories, some interesting matchups, and of course yours truly, man, will be there to bring the belt back. So that's all I got, boys. Keep it up. We'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Jose, thank you for calling in.
Yo, super chat, Ness.
So, do we got some? I didn't hear anything. Let me see.
I just seen it in the production chat.
Let me see. We actually do got one from Jack is the Truth. Miss Bum Gardner.
He mad about the AJ thing.
Yeah.
AJ boy.
Yo, them UK dudes are so emotional. Look, he took shots at her because she didn't know him, because he did a poor job promoting himself.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing though. I've known her when she was younger. If you get in the ring with her, Jack, I promise you she will fuck you up.
Well, we don't know that for sure. I mean, she's still a girl at the end of the day. We don't know how big Jack is. I never actually seen Jack. Like, we've seen pictures of Jack now, but we don't know how much he weighs.
He's strong as shit, though.
According to Jack, let me tell you what I learned. Stay away from him in border wars. I'm just telling you. Ooh. I heard he can do 10 muscle ups.
Wow.
And I was like, Jack, stop fucking lying. And he's like, bro. No, he didn't say bro. He said, bruv, I could do 10. And I was what are those? Google that shit, nigga. You got to have absolute super duper power plus core power.
They're the things that CrossFit people do to fuck up their shoulders.
Whatever, bro. They're the things that separate men from little babies that only deadlift.
Nah, that motherfucker benches like 400 and 1,000 pounds. That's way more impressive.
And I can flip over a bus.
What? He told you too?
Yeah, he benches like 4+, bro. That's crazy.
Wow.
for reps
So
too.
Jack is ripped under the
he-
what do they call it in the UK? An overcoat. He's ripped under that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So be
He's
careful.
strong as shit.
Jack
Be
is the
careful.
rip.
Yo, I'm your co-host at Maury Munguia. Catch me on Twitter and Instagram. Boys, be safe on the road. And I had asked him about the Klitschko thing, by the way, and he said that it was just because he looked like him, and one of his trainers had mentioned it.
Let me get to Idris in the UK. Always doing the most for these listeners. Hurry up, Idris. Late as always.
We say, I know, I'm late, man. Sorry about that, man. We lot saying.
What do you mean?
Hey, it's too late. I don't want to talk about none of that shit no more, man. I was just listening anyway. Listen, hey, what have you lot seen? Mike, you seen Green Book?
Green Book.
Man, I was watching it yesterday.
Like a phone book?
They were in Little Arkansas.
The
and I was
movie.
thinking, yeah. Nice. It's a movie about a deep stuff, man.
Man, you breaking
guy
up,
got
bro.
trapped.
You breaking up, bro. I can't even understand the fucking question.
Yeah, we tried to fuck with you, but listen, we out, man. We gotta hit the road. Peace.
Peace.
Ron GFIQ. Peace.
Call me Alex_Doomsday_Linus. Peace.
I'll either see y'all Thursday morning or tomorrow night. I'll be traveling tomorrow. Peace out.